Hello Bulldogs, my name is Lydia. I am the Assistant Director of Fitness for Campus Recreation, and today we have about a 20 to 25 minute yoga flow video for you guys. I do not have music playing in my video. However, if you have a playlist on Spotify or Pandora or even Fit Radio, if that's something you want to put on right now, feel free to go ahead and get that going. And again, this is just a 20-minute yoga video just to get a little bit of a stretch in on your busy work from home day, but I hope you guys enjoy it. So as we get started for class today, we are going to start in our supine relax. So we're going to start laying flat on our mat, legs extended, just allowing our bodies to relax, taking a few deep breaths here. And as we go, inhaling through our mouth, or inhaling through our nose, letting our bellies rise, and exhaling through our mouth, allowing our bellies to fall. We'll spend another minute or so here just breathing. Really trying to work on our belly breath here as we go. Really expanding our belly as we breathe, trying to limit how much our chest rises. We continue breathing here. Maybe we think of our breath as our stress or our worries leaving our body as we exhale. Or thinking about our inhales as positivity and gratitude for our health. But just bringing our minds to focus here in our present moment and away from anything away from our mat today. A lot of us may be at home with kids, families, or pets, just like I am now. So if we have a little bit of an interruption in our practice here today, that's okay. Just take it in stride, maybe laugh at it, and allow it to happen. That being said, I do have a dog today, so if you hear her in the background, just laugh it off. She's lovely. Her name's Winnie. Good. So as we start our next inhale, we're going to bring our left knee up to our chest. Holding here for just a few breaths, allowing our bodies to ease into our stretch today. Good. As we find our next exhale, releasing that leg back to the floor and inhaling our right knee up to our chest. Again, holding here for a few breaths, allowing that stretch to really begin to sink in. And once again, as we find our next exhale, releasing our right leg back to the floor, inhaling again with our left knee coming to our chest. Maybe this time pulling just a little bit farther than we did before, but allowing our bodies to ease in here. Maybe noticing differences between the two sides of our body. And once again, as we find our exhale, releasing that left leg back to the floor and inhaling our right knee up into our chest. And once again, holding here for just a few breaths. We're really tight today. We may feel this all the way up into our lower back. And as we find our next exhale, releasing our right leg back to the floor. This time inhaling to bring both knees up into our chest. So while we're here, we have the option of remaining stationary just as we are now, or if we'd like to, maybe even rocking gently side to side. Good. Just continuing to rock here, feeling that gentle massage on our lower back. Speaking of our lovely dog, here she is now. Good. As we exhale, planting those feet firmly on the ground, hands coming down by our sides. And from here when we're ready, we're going to inhale, lifting our hips up to the sky into our glute bridge. So we'll hold here for just a moment. And as we exhale, releasing our hips down to the mat. From here, moving through these with our breath. Inhaling as we lift up, and exhaling as we lower back to the floor. Just again, moving with our breath here, finding that rhythm and pace that works well for us today. Continuing to inhale as we lift our hips to the sky, and exhaling as we lower to the floor. Just Just moving through these to allow our warmth to start to build in our body today, preparing it for our practice to come. And as we exhale one last time, allowing those legs to fall flat back to our floor. And once again, we'll inhale, bringing our left knee up to our chest. Not holding here as long this time, but exhaling as we release. Inhaling our right knee up to our chest. And again, exhaling to release. Just moving through these knee pulls with our breath. Inhaling to our chest. Exhaling as we release back to the floor. So once again, just really finding that rhythm that feels comfortable for us, a pace that feels right for our breathing today. This time as we find that next inhale, bringing our knees both to our chest here. Again, holding nice and steady if we'd like to, or rocking gently side to side. Continuing to hold here. Good. This time as we exhale, allowing our legs to fall to the floor, we'll roll onto our left side using our right arm to push us up and over and into our tabletop position. Our wrists should be directly below our shoulders, knees directly below our hips. And from here, we're going to move through a few spinal balances, allowing our core and shoulders start to warm up as well here. So weight shifting into our left hand. We'll inhale, sending our left leg back behind us, right arm out ahead of us, and holding nice and steady here in our spinal balance for a few breaths. Now, if this is a little too much for us today, that's okay. We can leave that right hand down on the ground, allowing that left leg to hold nice and strong behind us. As we find our next exhale, releasing our left knee and right hand. Weight shifting to our right hand. We'll inhale our right leg behind us, left arm out ahead of us, holding nice and strong here. Good. Belly buttons pulling back towards our spine, helping to hold us nice and steady here. And once again, as we find that next exhale, releasing back to the mat. From here, we're going to switch sides as we go, just moving with our breath. So once again, finding a rhythm and a pace that works well for us. So inhaling as we lift, and exhaling as we lower. Making sure we stay nice and flat. We want to be as parallel to the floor with our arm and leg as we possibly can. Pulling those fingertips and our toes in opposite directions. As we exhale on this next one, allowing ourselves to come back into tabletop. From here, we'll move through our cat-cows. So inhaling as we round those shoulders up to the ceiling, feeling that stretch. And as we exhale, rounding towards the floor, opening up our chest. Again, just moving through these with our breath here. Exhaling as we lower to the floor, and inhaling as we round to the ceiling. Again, just moving through these at our own pace today. Feeling that chest open, shoulders stretching, and hopefully starting to feel a little bit of warmth opening through those shoulders and our core as well. Good. Coming back into our neutral position, we're going to take our knees a little bit wider, and when we're ready, exhaling to sink our hips back towards our heels and into child's pose. Our arms extended out ahead of us, allowing our forehead to rest on the mat here. Working on opening those hips, maybe stretching through our shoulders a little bit if we really want to extend those arms ahead of us. Good. From here when we're ready, we're going to inhale coming forward into our kneeling plank. Wrists are once again directly below our shoulders, our belly button pulling back towards our spine, and our hips are slightly lifted. We don't want to have our hips dropped low. We want them nice and high here. And as we find our next exhale, lowering through our crocodile or our tricep push-up, elbows staying in really tight to the body, all the way down to the mat, and inhaling back up into our kneeling plank. Once again, as we find our exhale, coming back to our child's pose. And we'll do that one more time here, inhaling forward to our kneeling plank, holding here for a few breaths, And once again, when we're ready, exhaling, lowering through our crocodile, and inhaling back up into our kneeling plank. Good. So from here, we're going to curl our toes under, pushing our hips up and back into our downward facing dog. And while we're here, just taking a moment to pedal those heels out, walking our dog, allowing our knees to bend, the balls of our feet planted firmly into our mat today. This time when we're ready, we're going to walk those feet forward to meet our hands, holding in our forward fold. Our knees are slightly bent. Our hips are lifting up and towards the sky, really hoping to feel a stretch to our hamstrings on the back side of our legs. So just allowing gravity to help hold us here for a few moments. Allowing our head to hang loosely if we're able to, maybe even shaking that head yes or no. And when we're ready, inhaling, bringing those arms all the way up above our head for our extended mountain. Feet are about hip width apart here. Fingertips are reaching to the ceiling. I know you can't see mine in the video, but no, they're reaching for the ceiling. Good. As we find our next inhale, we're going to lean over to the left, feeling that stretch to the right side of our body. Exhaling to release to the center and inhaling to the right. This time feeling that stretch to the left side of our body. Exhaling to release to the center, taking another deep breath. And once again, as we exhale, coming down into that forward fold. Hopefully starting to feel a little warm now, going through our warm up for our yoga today. Again, holding here nice and loosely, allowing gravity to help hold us here. Good. When we're ready, our hands coming down to the mat. We'll step back with our right foot first, left foot coming to follow, and into either our full or kneeling plank. But holding here for a few moments, allowing that core to really build that warmth here. And when we're ready, exhaling to drop our hips, coming into our upward facing dog, really opening up our chest, taking that gaze up to the ceiling. Good. Once again, we're going to curl our toes under, lifting our hips back to our downward facing dog again. Pedaling those heels out if we need to. Good. When we're ready, inhaling to lift our right leg back behind us. As we exhale, sweeping that right foot forward into our kneeling lunge or our high lunge here. Our knee is stacked directly above our ankle. You can see that 90-degree angle here. Holding here for a few breaths. Good. Again, when we're ready, we're going to bring that right foot back to meet our left into our full or kneeling plank. And as we exhale again, dropping those hips forward, coming into our upward facing dog. Good. Curling our toes under from here, we're lifting back and up into our downward facing dog, pedaling those heels out once again if we need to. And when we're ready, we're going to inhale, lifting our left leg back to the ceiling. And as we exhale, stepping that foot forward up between our hands, coming into our low lunge. And holding here, pushing those hips down and forward, feeling a stretch to the front of our right hip. And once again, when we're ready, weight coming to our hands, bringing that left foot back to meet our right, holding in our full or kneeling plank for just a moment. And as we exhale, dropping our hips and into our upward facing dog. Good. When we're ready, curling our toes under, hips coming back to our downward facing dog, holding here for a moment. And when we're ready, walking our feet forward to meet our hands and holding in our forward fold. Once again, our knees are slightly bent, hips lifting up and towards the ceiling here. Really trying to focus on stretching through the back side of our legs. And if we'd like to this time, maybe even grabbing our elbows, allowing ourselves to kind of hang here in ragdoll, swaying gently side to side. Good. Once again, when we're ready, inhaling those arms all the way up into our extended mountain. Holding here, continuing to breathe, lengthening all the way through our body. Again, I know you can't see my hands, but they're reaching for that ceiling. And when we're ready, exhaling, allowing those hands to come down by our side. From here, we're going to do a couple of balance poses. We're going to do tree first. So we're going to send our weight into our left foot, inhaling our right knee up and out, allowing it to come to rest on that leg wherever we feel comfortable. Keep in mind we want the weight above our knee, not on the joint itself. We can also have it below here, as you can see. If our balance is feeling really rough today, we can also keep those toes down on the mat, allowing ourselves a little tripod here. So when we find that position where we're comfortable, we can find our hand position next. I like heart center. You may like hands out by your side, on your belly button, maybe even up above you. But holding here for a few breaths. Our core is strong here, helping to hold us balanced. And be finding that steady item to keep our gaze on. Keeping in mind that tree is an active pose. Our foot is pressing into our leg and our leg is pressing into our foot. Good. As we find that next exhale, releasing our right foot back down to the mat. Maybe shaking that left leg out a little if we need to. But when we're ready, weight coming to our right foot. Inhaling our left knee up and out, allowing it to come to rest on that right leg where it may. Once again, making sure it's above or below our knee joint, but not on the joint itself. So you may notice a difference between our two sides here. One side's usually a little bit better balanced than the other, and that's very normal. But continuing to hold here, making sure we're breathing, trying to wiggle those toes if we're able to, making sure we're not gripping our mat too hard. Just another few breaths here. And when we're ready, exhaling to release. Again, shaking those legs out a little if we need to. Our next balance pose is going to be our warrior three, so coming to face the top of our mat if we're able to. Once again, we're going to start putting our weight into our right leg. We're going to inhale, sending our left leg back behind us, arms out ahead of us for our warrior three. So another alternative here is to bring those hands into heart center, helping us to balance a little bit better, or even bringing our hands down to the mat if that helps us. If we're not quite flexible enough to reach our mat, we can use a box, we can use some water bottles, anything that's going to help bring us a little bit higher so we're not resting as low on the mat. But good. We're going to exhale, releasing that left leg down, switching sides, weight into our left foot this time. Inhaling our right leg back behind us, arms out ahead of us. Good. Again, having the option of hands coming to the mat, to heart center, or to our items if we need them. Good. Exhaling to release, shaking those legs out. From here, we're going to inhale up into that extended mountain once again, really lengthening through the front of our body here. And as we're ready, exhaling down into our forward fold, our last one for today. Good. And from here, we're going to go into a little bit of an IT band stretch. So we're going to start by bending our left knee, straightening our right. And from here, bringing our left forearm onto our left leg, inhaling our right arm up into the ceiling. We should feel a stretch on the outside of our right leg. Now, if we're feeling extra stretchy today, we can bring that left hand all the way to the floor. We'll help deepen that stretch just a little bit. Good. When we're ready, exhaling to release our right hand back to the mat. We're going to bend our right leg this time, straightening our left leg. So right forearm coming to our right thigh, inhaling our left arm all the way to the ceiling. Again, having the option of bringing our right hand all the way to the floor if we'd like to. Good. When we're ready, exhaling to release that left arm. From here, we're going to bring our hands down to the mat, stepping back with our left foot, right foot to follow, and into our downward facing dog. So again, taking time to pedal those heels out here if that feels good for us today. When we're ready, we're going to inhale, lifting that right leg, sending it back to the ceiling. As we exhale, swinging that leg forward, crossing that right foot to the left side of our mat for our pigeon. So again, kind of bringing that foot forward so that way we can see we're stretching through the outside of that body. Good, really trying to open up our hip. When we're looking at this, we want to make sure that that right hip is not sitting on the floor. We want to stay nice and tall here, stretching out our piriformis and opening our hips. Good. When we're ready, we can curl our left toes under, lifting ourselves back up into our downward facing dog. This time inhaling our left leg to the ceiling, exhaling as we sweep that foot forward. Again, coming into our pigeon pose, opening up that hip and stretching through our piriformis here today. As we've been sitting down a lot more than what feels normal for us, this is a really great one to work on opening up our hips, stretching through those hip flexors, and just kind of counteracting all of that sitting we've been doing lately. Good. When we're ready, as we exhale, rocking, opening up towards the long edge of our mat. We can bring our feet together for butterfly. And holding here for just a few breaths. Being mindful of our posture. We want to sit nice and tall, elongating our spine. But continuing to breathe here if we'd like to, leaning forward, using those elbows to push those knees down a little bit farther. But again, listening to our body today. Good. Continuing to breathe while we're here. And when we're ready, releasing from our butterfly, we're going to come back over, transitioning into our child's pose, taking a few breaths here, allowing our forehead to rest on the mat. If we'd like to, walking our hands out towards the left side of our mat, stretching to the right side of our body. Holding here for a few breaths. As we find our exhale, walking our hands back to the center and inhaling our hands over to the right this time, stretching to the left side of our body. And once again, when we're ready, exhaling to release those hands back to the center, holding in our child's pose for just another moment. And when we're ready, inhaling to come forward, swinging our left knee underneath us, coming back to our seated position. We'll spend just another moment here breathing, allowing our hands to rest comfortably on our knees, making sure our chest is open and tall, being mindful of our posture. And while we're here, we can even close our eyes, allowing ourselves to rest fully in our present moment. Inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our mouth. Maybe we're mindful of the way the air feels on our skin today, or the way the mat feels below us. Just doing our best to keep our focus here in our present moment and away from anything else. As we take one more inhale, we'll bring those arms up above us, reaching for the ceiling, palms coming together. And as we exhale, hands coming down through heart center. We end every class with namaste, which means the light in me acknowledges the light in you. Thank you again for participating in our class, and namaste. We wish you guys a happy and healthy week. Please keep washing your hands, and let's keep